to the Taf Hub. This is a brand about real estate.
After 45 years of construction and real estate development in 8 African countries, it is time to share my experience, and it can only be done in the Taf Hub. We will be inviting experts who will give you facts and the right regulations on real estate development.
Join us every week, and remember, this is a very important platform where you need to learn about real estate business and development in the Gambia and around the globe. Mr. Njai, welcome to the Taf Hub.
Thank you very much. Again, and as I said, again and again, our guest today is so important and religious affairs. So, Mr. Sanyang, welcome to this episode.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. My name's Buwa Sanyang. I currently work as the Permanent Secretary 1 at the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs. Prior to that, I was at the Directorate of Lands and Surveys as a director. And briefly before that, I was a survey technician at the same department, that was Department of Lands and Surveys. Prior to that, after I finished my school in 1994, A-level, I worked for 1 year with Ministry of Works as a work technician. So in summary, this is my career.
Thank you so much.
What is the ministry planning to do about rural-urban migration sustainability? Or what mechanisms are in place to tackle this challenge?
Yes, the rural-urban drift, we are working on developing what we call cadastral mapping. A systematic cadastral mapping is seen as a solution to what we have is a sporadic mapping. Mr. Njai want to lease the land, we go and map that area, and then we lease, provide a lease. And what we realize is this is creating a problem in the sense that when you start mapping from, let's say, Tanje, coming to this mall, and when you start mapping from Turntable, coming to this mall, and when you start mapping from Burfoot Market and coming to this mall, you will be accumulating some errors as you come in, and then that will displace the mall. One will put it this way, or one will put it a little bit this way, or one will put it a little bit that way. So a systematic mapping with a georeferencing system where we'll use absolute positioning will help us solve that problem, where we'll be using coordinates. Instead of using the length and width of the plot, we will be using coordinate, put it in the GPS and track it. And it will tell you this is your point, and then you will be able to solve the problem. But this mapping process will avail us an opportunity to be able to provide certain services within the rural area. And this will encourage young people to stay and then work within them. This goes into the governance arm, working with UNCDF to come up with a model of development. That model of development is when there is a project that is going to the community. For example, we want to build a garden for a village A. We said the garden will require, it's to that community. We look for people who have the capacity. We give this contract to them, and then they work this market, and they are paid, and the money stays there. It alleviates poverty as well as provide them what they want. So this model also has helped the ministry, because what it has done for us, it is able to also the ward development committees, because these are the structures that zero or zoom in to the council. The council, every local authority, that is the council, is required to do the planning from the village level. The planning should be, every village should have what they call village development plan. They put them together, they submit it to their ward councillor. That is the one that represents them at the council. The ward council plans of this, and then now he'll go to the council to argue for their inclusion in the council plan. So now, if the councils, they follow the planning process, each project that they put in their budget would have emanated from a village. Because a village does the village development plan, and the village development plan is what comprised the ward development plan, and the ward development plan now filtered items that they have. Any item they pick there would have emanated from a village. So this is how it will help to develop those places and also help the people to stay and then work within their area.
That's great. Now let's go back to land issues, because land is currently amongst the biggest, if not the biggest social challenge this country currently experiencing.
Yeah, thank you very much. From a policy perspective, we are first reviewing our current existing policies. That is the State Land Act, the Survey Act, the Physical Planning Act, and their regulations. We're trying to update all this, and we are coming up with this real estate bill, the mapping aspect. The mapping will enable us to designate areas for different use, and then be able to jealously protect those areas what we will consider to be those uses. If we said a particular area is for agricultural use, we will make sure that people trading within that area will only be trading on an agricultural use. And then we will have less changes of thematic mapping is geared towards solving that. And the ministry, once we engage Trimble International is an American company, very powerful company, and they have done this mapping for a lot of countries, I think including Rwanda. They came to the Gambia here 3 times at their own cost to help us to see how we can build this. They prepared a concept note. We signed an MOU with them, non-committal MOU, so that they will see. They even had doesn't qualified for our situation now at the Ministry of Finance, because Ministry of Finance is the final say. They have the final say in terms of financial commitment. They say that we cannot go for that model because it has got some commitments, and then now it's a lucrative area. That's why Trimble have to come repeatedly into this country 3 times. Just last week, Tuesday, we had Monday to be specific, we had an engagement with another company who came in, and this time these people, they said, and then we'll take percentage of the proceed. They will take percentage until we recovered our cost, and then we hand over.
So it's
BOT, yeah. We are looking at the proposal. It's at the early stage. We're going to involve all stakeholders like Ministry of Finance, the PPPU, they can do it, and we will definitely like to move with them to see how we can solve this problem.
Well, that's more on cadastral mapping.
Yes.
And with all the benefits that come with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But so now, what in short, what you're saying that you need to consult with other ministries, other stakeholders, you know, then you can now sign up with these to implement.
Yes, the actual thing is looking at their technical and financial model.
Yeah.
If the technical model that they explain, we have some issues with that, but what we have experienced, we need some ground surveying, because a settlement before your new Taf city, before it was given to you, if you look inside, you will not be able to identify what Mr. Buba stops and what Mr. Bakar, so because the vegetation cover is almost the same. But the ground surveying will identify who owns where within that big vegetational cover area. We will have not only ownership in the land information system, but the land use and also the rents and all the associated uses for that particular land information system. And it will also be useful for people who want to buy land. You can go in online and query that particular land and know actually whether Buba, who is claiming to own this land, is the owner. And then also he want to sell it to me, I need it for a shop, but this area is this mapping done.
With all this, obviously, capacity building is key. Let's now talk on capacity building for your ministry. We know that you are overstretched.
Yes.
You know, the development of the country is moving fast. You know, land is in high demand. Everybody's building everywhere, and you are the authority, the controlling body. What are you doing in terms of capacity building?
internally at the University of the Gambia, or some of them are going outside, but this is not addressing. We have we are signing an MOU with a training institution here who has got an MOU with a university in India. This university is ready to conduct a bachelor's and a diploma courses in the Gambia here, and then on our specialized area, because our colleges. So you can go there and do development studies, but then you will not be able to do surveying, you will not be able to do valuation, all those are specialized areas. So we have this agreement with somebody who has agreed with a university in India, who are flexible to come and then do some modules with our guys here. Some of them, they will do it online, and then they will acquire a bachelor's or diploma in surveying or in capacity is very important. And also in this mapping, we have a component of capacity building, because eventually the whole project is going to be handed back onto the Gambia. So we need to do both capacity and also infrastructural development. What we're doing is a sort of a cadastral reform, whereby we will do the legal reform and also having the technology in place to be able to handle the new mapping system we are bringing on. The legal reform will go into the building the legal framework for the existing laws. We update them and also bring in new laws that will be able to have a land register in CRR. We have a land register in URR. We have a surveying unit there. Currently, we struggle. Sometimes at the end of the year, we will send a team to go on track, to go around and then take people who apply for lease, go and take their details and then come and work on their lease. Or people sometimes have to be forced to pay fares for our surveyors to go and then do this. But then we're working towards office in Basse where we have physical planning, and we also we send a surveyor there. So now we're trying to see how we can also, at our level, decentralize, so that when this project comes, that the cadastral mapping, the administrative reform will include that not only the surveys and physical planning, but it will also include the land registry, and also it will include some other sectors like the valuation. It will also include the planning and the like. So we will be able to transact on their documents at that level without most of the time coming to the ministry.
Finally, before you leave, Mr. Sanyang, I know we're in the rainy season and people would be wondering what the government is looking at in solving drainage problems.
Yeah, road construction. It has to do with the building of the road. We plan and said from this limit to this limit is a road. And now that road corridor is handed over to the Ministry of Works. Now they manage the road corridor. When they are building the road, they make sure the drainage are given. But here mostly we use this open drainage system. Rain and dry immediately after the rain, rather than most of the time we see in Banjul people fill these drainages with a lot of other items which makes block the waterway itself. But that in itself is not our mandate, but we provide the limits. We said from this level the road is 10 meters, and we make sure that 10 meter is available. Then now that road corridor, we call it, is handed over to the Ministry of Works, and they are the one who manage and they see how the channel dictates the flow of the water, running water.
That's fair enough, I think. I mean, now let's still go back to land. I mean, that's your ministry.
Yeah.
And the land portfolio should be one of the biggest contributor to the GDP. Yeah. In your opinion, have we fully maximized its potential?
More reason why we want to go for this mapping. Because the mapping, the cadastral mapping, once it is done, it is significantly going to increase government revenue. And is the only solution to take government from taking debts.
Okay.
Because when we checked within the West Coast, great generate yearly, if these land rents are collected and land registrations are done, and then the other fees are paid, like the land what we call rates. Not, rates are paid at council, but then we have what we call capital gain tax, and all whatnot are paid on time, and then they are being accounted for. That is the most important aspect, being accounted for. Because if we don't have records, so you used to bring in 10 million. And then I'm now assigned, I bring 15 million. And I'm given a tap at the back, oh, Buba is doing well. But against what? If it is 300 million out there, I bring 15 million, I should be whipped. But then, if you don't know that it is 3 million out there, if I bring an addition to the previous collection, you will say thank you. But it is not the case. So the cadastral mapping, what it will do is it will enable government to know analysis that we have out there that we could not collect because of lack of record, because of lack of a lot of other hurdles where we don't have collection mechanism. In the regions, by default, people pay the land rent to the councils when they should be paying it to the central government. So these are all ways. And also what is going to do to the councils as well. It's going to help them to know their revenue-based compounds. And out of the 10,000 compounds, 5,000 is purely residential. 2,000 is purely maybe tourism. Maybe another 100 is something like industrial. So you know which use is charged for how much, and then you will be able. But as of now, not a single council can be able to see their revenue base, where they base their planning or their budgeting on, because they don't have the figure out there. All what is out there, they don't have it. So the mapping will also help them, the local councils, to be able to know how many compounds are within their jurisdiction, and help them in terms of planning in waste collection. It will help them in their plans, knowing that this area is even though it's big, but it has more of open land and then all whatnot, and then we don't have much people there. So they will know how to assign their trucks to do collections within those areas. So in effect, the mapping information will be very much useful to both the central government.
But let me now even push you further there. I mean, let's assume that you have all these in place. All the systems are in place, you've signed up, the cadastral map is working. But how about enforcement? Because land rent is paid annually. So somebody walks to an office and pays for it. How about if they don't come, many information that is required, but enforcing, making sure it's collected?
Yeah,
how do you enforce that? How do you enforce that people will come and pay for their rent? Or is there a mechanism to collect this? Or guaranteed ways of monies being collected without, again, some amount of fraud? Because wherever you have revenues being collected, there can be the projected revenue will be collected or must be collected.
Yeah, the projected revenue, as far as the mapping information data is established and is available. This database will be linked to the main database in terms of getting a driver's license, in terms of renewing your driver's license. It will pop in that you have not paid your land rent, and then you'll be asked to go and pay your land rent. You want to open a bank account, it pops in, and then it says to the bank that this man has an arrears, he has not paid. You want to pay, you want to go for a national ID card. So it has to come be collected effectively. Even it can be done in such a way that at the level of, let's say, acquiring your national ID card, we've realized that I have 3 years arrears. They will tell me you have to pay, go and pay to the cashier, even with them. And then they receipt it and make sure it goes to the right account, and then they provide me my license. So once that is done, other countries are doing it. Yeah, once you go in, you want to do one thing, you have certain areas, they will tell you, you have this. And also the fraud aspect. What will stop the fraud aspect is, once you know exactly that you are managing, it's just like this Taf estate. You know exactly how many houses are here, and you know how many of them are commercial. So if you know how you can always find out what has gone wrong, because your collection should have been, we have 10 houses here, and each of these 10 houses should pay 500. You expect 5,000. What is wrong? Why are you for 4,500? What is happening? Which of the compound did not pay or underpaid out there? And you know how much is expected by each collector based on their jurisdiction or their area of assign.
Sounds interesting.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sanyang, for your time. This was a very interesting and important discussion to have with you, to talk about the ministry and the work you are doing, and of course to talk about land and how the ministry is working towards future developments in making sure. Remember to subscribe on our YouTube channel. The link is on the screen.
Taf Africa Global presents the first eco smart city in the Gambia, the Taf City, located between Gunjur and Sifo. It is 30 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. At Taf City, you will be able to live, health, business, recreational and other complementary services to increase the value of your home. With up to 5,000 units of affordable homes on a 500-hectare land, Taf City will be twice the size of Banjul. Prime location, stunning properties and amazing discount of 20% for the first 50 buyers. Make an appointment today to 220-376-2333, or you can send an email to info@tafafricaglobal.com. Better still, visit our office at Madiba Mall, Brewfoot Gardens Estate. Taf City, a green and smart city accessible to all.